Now, I'll take you back to the same chapter of Daniel 9, but I'll take you back one verse before, which is verse 24. We read 25 and 26. In 25, he talks about 7 weeks. And then in 26, he talks about 62 weeks. But in verse 24, look what it says. 70 weeks are determined for your people and for your holy city to finish that transgression, to make an end of sins, to make reconciliation for iniquity, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal up vision and prophecy, and to anoint the Most High. Verse 24 talks about 70 weeks. But verse 25 and 26 talk about 7 weeks and 62 weeks. Now 7 and 62, how many? How many? Please be with me. 7 and 62. How many? But in verse 24 it says 70. So 70, take away 69, what is left? 1 week. Now 70 weeks must be complete till this nation is brought back to the Messiah. But so far, only 69 weeks have been fulfilled, have been completed. But there has to be 70 weeks, not 69. Because verse 24 says 70 weeks. 70 weeks are determined for your people. But verse 25 and 26, 7 and 62, 69. Where is that week gone? Let's continue. Now, Daniel, the prophet, is saying 7 weeks and 62 weeks, and then he says there is 70 weeks altogether. To understand what is he talking about when he mentions 7 weeks and 62 weeks, what are these weeks? Are they really literal weeks, or are they different time? To understand this, let's come to the book of Revelation, and we're going to look at our topic of today, chapter 11, verses 2 to 3. Chapter 11, verses 2 to 3, what does it say? But leave out the court which is outside the temple, and do not measure it, for it has been given to the Gentiles, and they will tread the holy city underfoot for what? 42 months. And I will give power to my 2 witnesses, and they will prophesy 1,260 days clothed in sackcloth. What is going on here? Revelation 11, 2 to 3 is talking about 42 months, 1,260 days. Let's continue. Now we go to Revelation 12:14. I said, bear with me, please. It'll come to clarity in another 10 hours, okay? So are you in a rush? No, good. Now Revelation 12:14. Revelation 12:14, it mentions about time and times and half a time. But the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, to her place where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time from the presence of the serpent. So now, Revelation 11, 2 to 3, 42 months, 1,260 days. Revelation 12:14, he mentions time, times, and half a time. So time and times, 1 and 2 times, 3, and half, 3.5 times. Now, there is, again, how many? 42 months. There is 1,260 days. And there is time, times. Now times, when it's 2, plural, 2. So time and times, that's 1 and 2, 3. And half a time, that is 3.5 times. So there is a mention of Revelation 13:5. One more mention. Revelation 13:5 mentions 42 months. I'm not going to read the whole verse. Mentions 42 months. So now, we come to Daniel chapter 9, verses 24, 25, and 26. In verse 24, there is 70 weeks must be finished, must be determined. But in verse 25 and 26, he's mentioning about 7 weeks and 62 weeks. When you add the 7 and the 62, you're getting 69 weeks. But he said in 24, in verse 24, there has to be 70 weeks complete. Now there is 1 week missing. To understand the time in the weeks of Daniel, because it's a prophecy, therefore we cannot take it literally. A prophecy is not always literal, it's symbolic. To understand what Daniel is talking about, the book of Revelation, John the Beloved has explained the time of Daniel. He says that week, the last week that is left out, is 42 months, 1,260 days, and time 2 times and half a time and 3.5 times. Now, why in the book of Revelation gave us 3 ways of clarifying to all of us what this week of Daniel is all about? Now, 42 months is 3.5 years, literally. 1,260 days in the Jewish calendar is 3.5 years, literally. And time, 2 times and a half time is 3.5 years, because since 3.5 times is 42 months and 1,260 days, therefore the time times and time and half a time is 3.5 years. So time times is 3.5, 3.5 times. What is 3.5 times? Is 1,260 days. How many years is 1,260 days? 3.5 years. How many years is 42 months? 3.5 years. Therefore, the last week that is left out, half of it is 3.5 years. Thus, what is then the week? 7 literal years. Half of the 7 literal years is 3.5 years, which is explained in 42 months, 1,260 days, and in time, times, and half a time. 3.5 years is half of 7 years. 7 years is that week. Since the last week is 7 years, guess what? All the other 69 weeks must be taken as years. Now, the Holy Bible is not that easy. Why? Because it has to be complicated. The author is God. There is no one more complex than the Almighty God. If God was easy, then He is not God. That's why His path is narrow. Anybody home? You are walking in the path of the most complicated being ever. And you want to have a holiday? Get a life. The prophet Daniel divides the 70 weeks into 3 intervals. He divides these 70 weeks into 3 intervals deliberately. Why? Because who gave that revelation to Daniel? God. So therefore, everything has a reason. Everything has a reason. So Daniel divides the 70 weeks in this order. 7 weeks, 62 weeks, and then 1 week left out. He didn't go 62 weeks, 7, or 1, 62, 7. No. 7, then 62, then the last week. This is deliberate. Why? He's trying to give us a profound revelation about the Messiah coming and what is going to happen after His first coming. Archangel Gabriel gave this revelation to Daniel.